G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of the Physio Fit podcast. We're here at Body Revival in Thomastown, the home of Physio by John. My name's John S. McQuell from Physio by John, and this is Chris Bryson from CB Physiotherapy.
The second most common reason why any individual presents to a physiotherapist on a daily basis, only behind lower back pain, is shoulder pain. Okay, and we're here today to talk about one of the most common reasons why people experience shoulder pain, and that is rotator cuff dysfunction.
So the rotator cuff muscle group actually consists of four main muscles, all of which attach from the back of the shoulder blade through the side and into the front of the shoulder. So you've got the supraspinatus, which sits on top of the shoulder blade, the infraspinatus, which sits just below it, the teres minor, which sits a little bit below the infraspinatus, and the subscapularis, which attaches behind the shoulder blade and again wraps around to the front of the shoulder.
There is two main functions of the rotator cuff muscle group, both of which are really important to consider. The first one, as the name suggests, is to provide rotation in your shoulder. So that's being both external and internal rotation in your shoulder to move our arm and our hand around in different directions. Okay. The second and probably more important function of the rotator cuff muscle group is to provide stability to your shoulder. Okay. And this is really important when we consider the anatomy of your shoulder as a joint. Okay. Our shoulder, or your glenohumeral joint, is a ball and socket joint. And it's quite an unstable joint compared to other joints in your body because the ligaments in the joint capsule around it are quite loose. Okay? Compared to your elbow or your knee, for example, which have got really strong ligamentous support around them, and they can only really move up and down in one direction, the ligaments around your shoulder are quite lax, which is great for us as humans because it allows us to move our arm and our hand around in these different directions and reach for things and grab for things. But the negative is that it means we rely on dynamic stability to come from the muscles around your shoulder rather than purely the passive structures being the ligaments in the joint capsule. And that's where your rotator cuff comes into play.
So what we commonly find in the clinic, particularly within the gym setting, is that most people are really training their global muscles, such as the traps, the deltoids, your pecs, your rhomboids, and your lats, and tend to neglect the local stabilizers, which are your rotator cuff group. So what ends up happening is your global muscles get really strong, you develop really good aesthetic, obviously. However, what happens is your local stabilizers don't tend to keep up with that, and that's what causes dysfunction.
John and I obviously both work specifically within strength and conditioning studios and personal training studios, and the nature of people in these studios is they're wanting to lose weight, they're wanting to put on muscle, they're wanting to get stronger or hit big numbers on a bench or an overhead press, and these are all going to be trained in these global muscle groups that John spoke about, and people neglect their rotator cuff. Okay, it's this neglect of your rotator cuff and just the fact that people choose not to train it because it's not going to help you look better in the mirror, it's not going to directly help you get a stronger bench press, it's not going to help you lose weight. Okay, we get that imbalance as John was talking about, and that's what dysfunction occurs and people get shoulder pain.
So Chris and I are going to show you a couple of strengthening exercises for your rotator cuff muscle group, which are very important when you're trying to target those imbalances that you develop from doing a lot of strength training within the gym.
So the first exercise that John is going to demonstrate for us today is a simple banded side raise or lateral raise. Okay, this is not one of your traditional rotator cuff exercises. People don't consider it a rotator cuff or a rehabilitation exercise because we're not moving into any sort of internal or external rotation. But if we actually analyse the job of the rotator cuff in providing stability to the shoulder, we find it's really effective. Okay, so what John's going to do is put one foot down on the bottom of the band and just take his arm out to the side up to about 90 degrees in a nice, slow and controlled fashion, and then lower it back down for us. Okay, this is a fantastic place to start any strength or rehabilitation program. If we consider what's actually going on here, as John is lifting his arm out to the side, okay, his deltoids, or the large muscles with the cuff at the top of his shoulder, is pulling his arm bone out to the side and away from his body. Okay, it's the job of the rotator cuff in this position to oppose the forces provided by the deltoid, migrate that ball down a little bit into the socket to allow our arm to travel up into excess levels of elevation. Okay, and that's the reason why this is a really effective and great place to start in this routine.
So the second exercise we're going to do today involves one of the main functions of the rotator cuff group, which is your external rotation. So again, we're going to be using the TheraBand to do this exercise just to give you a little bit of resistance. What's very important during this exercise is that it's supported. So as you can see here, Chris has a couple of boxes lined up, elbow nice and supported onto the box. Now what that does is it reduces the activation of the global muscles such as your pecs, your deltoids, your lats in terms of stabilizing the shoulder. So what can commonly happen is once you're doing your external rotation with the band, those global muscles kick in to start stabilizing because of those imbalances that we've been talking about. So it's very important to keep your elbow nice and supported during this exercise. And again, nice and slow and controlled movements into external rotation. Now a lot of that control needs to happen during the eccentric phase or when the wrist is coming back down towards the floor.
The next progression that John's going to show us today to move on from a TheraBand-based exercise is a simple dumbbell external rotation. Like any exercise in the gym, when we're training any muscle group, we want to progressively overload it over time, and moving from the TheraBand to the dumbbell is the next best way to do that. So, what John's going to do is have his elbow supported and tucked in on the side, which as we touched on earlier, is going to reduce the contribution in the activation of his global muscles of his delts and his traps and his lats, and it's going to isolate the rotator cuff muscle group as best as we possibly can. As you can see, John is externally rotating by bringing his hand up as far as he can go and lowering it down in a slow and controlled fashion, taking a good 2 or 3 seconds for each phase of that movement.
The next progression in our rotator cuff training is the use of a kettlebell. The reason why the kettlebell is such a valuable piece of equipment is because of the imbalance in the weight distribution. So as you can see, the center of mass is placed on top of your wrist or away from your grip. And what that means is it requires a lot more stability from your rotator cuff group of muscles because the kettlebell can fall in any direction within a 360-degree radius. This is Chris performing a single arm kettlebell floor press. Now the aim of this exercise is to straighten the arm in one direct line towards the ceiling with as minimal flailing or shaking of the arm as possible.
The last progression we're going to show you guys today is the single arm kettlebell overhead press, which is very, very similar to your standard single arm or double arm shoulder press with dumbbells, but John's demonstrating this exercise with the kettlebell in the bottoms up position. Once again, this is taking advantage of the extra stability requirements that you need when actually controlling that kettlebell up and down in one straight line towards the roof, making sure your arm isn't flailing too much, and making sure that kettlebell isn't going to be falling down to the side. Okay? Very similar to the higher level strength and conditioning type exercises in terms of your normal shoulder training, but the kettlebell allows you to train the rotator cuff to make sure you're going to be avoiding any of those imbalances between the global prime movers and the local stabilizers. So there you have it, guys. That is rotator cuff training in a nutshell. As we touched on, rotator cuff dysfunction or weakness is one of the most common reasons why people experience shoulder pain. So it's really, really important that we are training and building and progressing our rotator cuff training as much as we possibly can on a regular basis to complement your normal strength or gym routine.
In another episode of the PhysioFit podcast, we'll be more specifically looking at the pathologies that you may find and the diagnosis in shoulder pain. However, if you do have any questions in regards to this podcast, hit us up below, like our video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.